What hurt the most is that I got most hated from in my own country. That was the most hurtful thing ever. I lost so much weight that my head looked like bigger than my body. But I didn't feel beautiful, or I didn't feel like I felt like the fattest person in the world. In the meantime, I broke up with my ex. Thank God.
The She Warriors is the She Word series where we sit down with ordinary women who have extraordinary stories. And the guest on this show has, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the most extraordinary stories I've come across. My guest has caused me some inner conflict. As English-born, the lyrics to her iconic anthem have made me twitch and shift uncomfortably in my seat every time I've heard the song. As a proud Maltese, I've cheered her on when she took to the stage with her powerful vocals and unmistakable style to command attention at the Eurovision. But it was a few months ago when she responded to a body-shaming comment with the reply, "Keep my name out of your mouth because you don't know what I've been through," that made me sit up and defend this young woman and truly recognize her as the warrior she really is. Welcome, Miriana Conte. We've got the giggles because as I sat down to talk to you, I just have so much love in my heart. There's so much great energy going on in this room that I know this is going to be a fantastic conversation, and you are a warrior. And I absolutely, you see, there's a lot of love in the room. And I love this about you, but I want to find out where this all comes from and where your energy, your passion, your image, your controversy, and everything that goes around you. I want to find out where that all comes from, but I want to start with that because when I sat down to research you, I started with X Factor 2018, and I started with your audition, and lots of things about that really stood out. One is that you just look so gorgeous and so cute and wonderful and fantastic. You were quite shy, but you also dedicated the song to your mum.
Yes.
And so I want to start with this because obviously family is very, very important to you. Tell me just a little bit about your family and about your mum, because she sounds very, very special.
She is very special. So I'm very close with my family, right? We've always been super, super close. So I wasn't the type of girl or teenager or little girl to like go do stuff behind my family's back and not tell them, "Oh, I'll go do this stuff," and I'll bet you I'll go home and be like, "Ma, you know what I did? La 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 la," a bunch of that. And my mom was like my best friend growing up, and she used to tell me, all these friends you have nowadays, because I used to have a lot of friends, yes, and different friend groups, always sleeping at this one's house, that one's house. But my mom was like, "I'm always gonna be your best friend for life, and when you grow up, you're gonna figure that out by yourself." And boy, was she right.
Wow.
Boy, was she right. She's like, "Don't hide from me anything. I will never judge you. I will never tell you, no, don't do that. No, don't go there. No, don't like come home at 10 p.m. She was never the type of mom. Like I went to Pacheville when I was 13, I think, or 12. And she trusts me because she always trusted in her heart that I'm going to go home and tell her everything I saw, everything I did, and how I spent my night.
That's amazing. So your mum is actually your best friend.
Yes.
And you can be really honest with her.
Open, everything.
But what's the magic? Why? How did that come about?
My grandma, she told me, "You didn't speak when you were younger, you sang." So she told me, I knew that this is what you wanted. And I was a very progressive baby, mind you. Okay. I might not know how to do the tables of maths. Like I don't know how to read the clock, but I was a very progressive child. Okay. And at 1 years old, Ira Losco had went to, I don't know the country, but she went to sing Seventh Wonder at Eurovision. I knew the song beginning to end, and I was 1. 1-year-old
You,
singing.
hang on a second. You were singing Eurovision Irolosco at 1
Yes.
years old.
Yes.
Wow.
So, Madonna, last time my mom and dad mentioned this and they were laughing their heads off. The first time I heard the Maltese banda, they took me down to Hal Ormi San George to our feast. And they took me before like the marching band came and stuff. And she was like, you were gonna jump out of the pushchair. You were giving it this. When I heard the music, I was like, oh my God, I love this. Yeah. So,
but is there anyone else musical in your family?
My dad sings. My grandpa is a guitar player and he also sings a bit. He also likes to write. So there was like an influence growing up. So when I used to be at my Maltese grandma's house, I used to hear Pink Floyd, the Eagles, all of that. So yes.
The Eagles, I mean, seriously cool that you were listening to Pink Floyd and the Eagles.
No, because how can you not? That was my childhood, so growing up.
It was my childhood as well. So
literally, but how beautiful is that?
Yeah.
And when I used to go to my Italian grandma's house, she used to put it on Rai or Italiano and I used to hear all these Italian songs. My dad had like a cassette thingy, but it was big. Like you could put cassettes and vinyl in it as well. From his late father as well. And he used to play Eros Ramazzotti, Gigi D'Alessio. So it was always very musical, you know?
So you had that as part of your growing up experience. But coming back to this voice, I mean, your voice is really exceptional. It really is. And I so can't emphasize this enough, that with everything that's happened over the last year and all of the controversy and the drama and all the theatre surrounding you, it is easy to lose sight of the fact that you are an incredible vocalist. So coming back to X Factor, which is kind of, I know that there was the Eurovision before that, but I think with X Factor, that's kind of where the first time that I've seen you launch onto the national stage and into this.
Yes.
And that song that you had when you went and hugged Ray and everything afterwards was just beautiful. What was that experience like? Before we come to Eurovision, what was that experience like? Did that drive you? How did that make you feel about being a vocalist? Have you always wanted to be a singer?
I always had this dream of being on big stages and hearing stadiums shout my name or shout my music. It was always this big, big dream of mine. And last year, when we used to have like interviews and stuff, I used to tell them I'm living my Hannah Montana moment with the wigs and everything. I was like, oh my God, I manifested all of this. But yes, it was always a big dream of mine. X Factor was a sort of wake-up call as well, because we got to know more about the industry, and I was put in a group, in fact.
Yes.
Which I learned so much from. But it shattered me a bit in the beginning, because I'm like, I'm not good enough to be on my own.
Oh, wow.
Yes. But then we had this unity and like learning how to do harmonies. So I learned a lot. So that always stayed with me. And how you get to share an experience with people that you don't know because they formed a group like there and then. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it was such a beautiful journey.
Well, bring me up to speed then, because that was 2018 and the next time we see you is 2025. So what happened in the meantime?
I did participate in Eurovision like 3 more times before Serving Kant happened. And it was always very... So I wasn't the type of Maltese singer. I wasn't a part of the... Like, you know how they say, it's her time to go next. Yeah. It was never the case with me. Because the first time I took part, I came last. The second time I took part, I was like 10th. Third time I took part, I think I came 6th, 10th, then I won. So it was like, whoa.
But honestly, how do you keep going when you're coming last? What drove you? Because that's not, that's not the kind of thing that a young woman would take very easily.
My father tells me you are a Conte. Yes, so the side of my Italo family, that's where it comes through. I will never take no as an answer, and I'm very hard-headed and I'm very perseverant. So just because I know a couple of singers, a lot of singers actually, who've been on X Factor, I've never seen them or heard of them again, who've been once in Eurovision but never came back to it because they didn't win. But that's like, to me, it loses the point and purpose of everything. When you see these big artists, I inspire myself a lot from these big artists. Like, for example, the hot girl of the now, Zara Larsson. She was big. Then she flopped for long years. But now she's big again.
Yeah.
And it's just like life. So this career is just like life. You cannot have all the highs and all the lows at the same time. You're going to be on a high, then you're going to be on a low, but then back on a high. So this is what I always kept in mind. And I'm not going to lie, in my teenage years, it did take a toll on me in the sense I was like, because then you come to a realization, am I going to have my Hannah Montana moment, or is it just not going to happen? Because this industry is fucked as well. It's a dark industry. The music industry is a very dark industry because it's all about always staying on track and being this and being that and don't say this and don't say that. But then we get to miss the beauty of it. But that's what I clinged on to during all the times where I failed. I clinged on to how does it make me feel to be on stage? I feel like the most confident fucking woman on the planet. Like, it's insane. So if you see me out on the street, I'm a very anxious person. Like, I don't like to go pay. I hate walking by myself in the streets. I never went on a solo date, like taking coffee on my own. I hate it. I feel so like everyone's looking at me. I really, really hate it.
But get you on stage.
Get me on stage and I will do whatever you want me to do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's
No. But you mentioned that when you were a child, that's what you wanted. You had that moment. You had that even when you're 1 years old. You're singing Era Losco. You know that you're driving for that. And then I want to bring, because we're going to talk about the confidence. Because this is massive, this whole idea of confidence, and we're going to dive into that in a second. Before we get there is the Kant moment. I'm English.
Yeah.
And I was as taken aback by Serving Kant, I think, as any Northern European person was.
Of course.
So I want to find out, where did this come from? Because this was what got you to the finals, got you winning locally, and then off to Eurovision, this song. And when I looked at and went through the whole journey of that song, it started off, I'm not going to say tame, but it certainly wasn't as theatrical as the final version.
Yeah.
But you must have known when you sat down to start working on the song that it was going to be controversial, it was going to project an image, and it was going to either get people on side or get an adverse reaction from you, which it obviously did. And it's like Marmite. Do you like Marmite?
I prefer Bovril.
No, you can't. No.
I prefer
but the thing is, it's either you love it or you hate it, and there's not really a huge middle road. Did you know? How did Kant come about?
So this is a very interesting story. So at the time, I was in a very, very toxic relationship, and I was very overweight, very unhappy with everything that was happening in my life. My dad had just come out of Mount Carmel like a few months back. It was like roller coaster. And
so this is end of 2004?
2020, yes, 2024.
24.
And I didn't go to the song camp that they had organized in 2023 because I was anxious. I didn't want to go meet all these foreign producers and songwriters. The thought of it made me puke. And then I was one of the few that passed for the finals of 2024 with my song Venom, which was not in the camp. And Gordon Bonello, he came up to me and he's like, you have to come to the camp this year. There are going to be such great people that you can work with, who can understand your niche, your style. And I was like, okay, I'll come. And I applied. And on the day when I woke up, I was sick to my stomach. I didn't want to go. And all signs were pointing to don't go. So I didn't know what to wear. And then I was like, okay. I wore something and I left the house. I couldn't find parking in Valletta. There was like, I texted Gordon or I sent him a voice note. I don't remember. I'm like, I'm gonna go back. If I don't find parking, I'm not gonna come. He's like, wait, yeah, find parking and then come. It's fine. We'll wait for you. I found parking. I walked. I was embarrassed, obviously. Unless everyone is there and I'm not. And I walked in and I saw Mushu, my songwriter. I've been working with him ever since I was like 12. And I'm like, I hope I'm with you today. Because you don't know who they're going to put you with.
Oh, wow.
Yes, you're just like this clump of people outside. And Kevin Lee, they appointed him as this song camp person, which calls out the names and organizes and everything. And he goes, for example, Trudy, Miriana, Mushu. You can go in room 1. So I was going, oh no, they're going to think I'm a weirdo. They're going to think I'm too much. I move around a lot. I have ADHD, diagnosed, recently started medication, but the thought of me like being all day in a room with these people trying to create music, it was making me sick to my stomach. I thought they're going to think I'm weird and too much. And they called out my name, Miriana, and Mush, and I was like, fuck. And they called out Benji's name, which was the producer, and Sarah Evelyn. She was the other songwriter. And walking to the room, he's like, Di faqa di, she's there, she's one of us. She was twerking earlier. And this Benji guy, he was very... he's from Switzerland, so they're very like blank faced, I'm like, shit, this guy is gonna be a dick. Shit, man. And I was panicking, and then we went in the room and he's like, can you show me your music? We went on Spotify and he's like, wow, you have very good music. And I'm like,
nice.
Wow. And he's like, how does it not have so many streams? And I'm like, Malta. Malta. That's why. He's like, but no, let's create something magical. And they're like, what do you want to write about? I told them, I want to write about exactly how I felt coming here.
Oh, my word.
About feeling like I was wrong in the world all my life. About how I was always too much in a room. How I was always told to sit down and shut up and just do what I'm told to do. And the only time where I didn't feel like that growing up was when I was singing. So I wanted to write exactly about that.
Take care and enhance your beauty. Browns, empowering wellness through a selection of high-quality makeup brands.
I just feel alive. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I got that lifestyle, I'm fierce as hell. That very top model, that high-speed fast throttle. Living it up, you know I love you. It said I just feel alive. 'Cause all I got is what I am and I'm a vibe.
Feel more sensual than ever before with the new Denise bra. Intimissimi.
Listen, my mind is a little tiny bit blown at the moment because you are describing what so many people can relate to. And that is not belonging, not feeling, imposter syndrome, wondering what you're doing, and even, we sat down before we started recording, and I said to you, I believe sometimes things are meant to happen. But when you were talking about this, walking into Valletta, trying to find parking, and I'm thinking to myself, and I'm like, inside, I'm going, please get her parking, because if you hadn't have found parking, there's a good chance you wouldn't have shown up.
No.
And none of this would have happened.
None of it.
Because I can so relate to that moment where you're thinking to yourself, I just can't do this.
Literally.
I need to give up. And I think almost everybody can relate to that.
Everyone has felt like they didn't belong at some point or another. And we started with these claps in the beginning, and then we started vibing. And then Sarah went, I do it all the time. Yeah, I do. And I was like, when I walked in the room and I felt comfortable, I was like, we're going to serve some Kant today. I wasn't speaking about this Kant. I was speaking about the Kant that you English people are so, like that about. I was like, oh my God, let's serve some Kant. But in the gay world, it's empowering. It's
a phrase that's really frequently used.
Uniqueness, nerve, and talent. Confidentiality, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. So yes. So I was like, that Kant. And I was like, wait. Kant in Maltese is singing Serving Kant. I was like, why not, man? And they were like, no, we can't. And I was like, I bet you we can. And I went out, stormed to Gordon and Kevin, and I'm like, can I say Serving Kant? And they're like, no. And I'm like, no, Serving Kant, Kant, singing.
And they said?
And they said, we'll try, and we spent a day writing this song, and it was magic. So we recorded on this shitty microphone in St. James Cavalier in Spazio Creative, and we're singing into this mic, and I'm like, I do it all the time, Serving Kant. We had a listening party at the end of the day, and they left mine for the very end. Purposely so, obviously. And I remember being so fucking scared because I was like, it's either people are gonna fucking hate it or love it like to the max. And I remember everyone like moving to it, and they're like looking at me like, wow, man. And I remember a very great, amazing songwriter, Melanie from Sweden, came up to me and she's like, you're gonna win this year.
Wow.
And I'm like, stop it. She's like, you're gonna win this year.
Wow. But you absolutely nailed that on the head there. They're going to love it or they're going to hate it. And it does have that controversy surrounding it because, as you just mentioned, the see you next Tuesday word is the most offensive. You see, I have an annual allocation of how many times I'm allowed to say that word because it is the most offensive word in the English language. You must have known when you guys got everybody kind of bobbing around and singing and that it was incredibly earwormy. You hear it, you can't forget it. It's there, it's stuck.
Yes.
But you must have known how controversial it was going to be.
Yes.
Did you know?
Of course I did. It's a smart play on words, Trudy.
Yes, it is. It is very.
But it's not wrong. If you take it from a Maltese context, it's really not wrong. And that's the thing. So with Eurovision, you have to find something to cling on to for it to make sense. And the song is just great. Like when you listen to it, it's great. But boy, did I love like all these months of hearing people shout Serving Kant every part of the world. Man, that was great, you know?
Well, there was that as well.
Yes. And I don't know how to explain it, but people thought I had this mischievous thought in my head, but I really didn't. This is why you have to really embrace everything about your being, because I went in there anxious because of my ADHD, but my ADHD is what made it. Because who would think of serving Kant in Maltese? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Kant is singing.
And you're attributing that to your ADHD. I'm going to digress for a second because you've attributed that to your ADHD. And I have sat down with Makenda before, who was the first female guest that I had who'd been diagnosed with ADHD, and she referred to it as a superpower.
It is a superpower.
Okay, talk to me about this for a second, because we do not talk about this enough.
Listen, it's Ara, you need to learn how to live with it.
Okay.
If you don't, it's always going to be a burden in your life. Why? Because it's even tedious when you drive. When I drive with the windows up, especially under a tunnel, because I cannot with the noises. You know what I mean? I startle myself with the noises. When an ambulance is coming, it shakes me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So there's certain noises, certain places where I get overstimulated. Sometimes I have to, like what we said when we were at the awards the last time, I don't like being in a room full of people where I know I have to, I'm awkward like that, you know what I mean?
But
Because
so many people would find that so surprising because, and again, coming back to what you said before, your public persona,
yes,
your stage presence is so confident, is so, this is me, this is my attitude, this is the theatre, and you can take this and you can serve cunt. And I'm an English person, I said it. Oh my gosh. But you can take all of that. And to hear you say that you had imposter syndrome or you don't feel confident walking down the street, I think is probably going to be quite surprising for a lot of people.
yes, 100%. The thing is, so I deleted Facebook, for example. I just deleted the app. I still have Facebook, and my social media manager, Xavier, he just posts stuff for me there. But my girlfriend Jade, when she sees like a comment I should probably look at, she'd be like, Ara, look at this. Otherwise, I'll just see her pissed in a corner. She's like, motherfuckers, don't get it. but I had seen like 2 comments, and they're like, how wrong were we to judge you? How wrong were we to judge you? How much success you've made in a year? Those are people which I will never forget. I don't know their face, I don't know their names, but I will always remember that comment. Because sometimes we're too proud to say like, I was mistaken to think this or to say this about. But this comment specifically, I remember said I was one of those who used to like call you out and call you names. But boy, was I wrong.
Let's talk about this for a second, because there you go. You've now gotten through on this singing camp, on this songwriting camp. You've come up with this incredible in line. You've come up with the Julie Andrews. Thank you very much indeed. Who came up with that? Who came up with that? The do re mi. Where did that come from?
So I think that was like a collective thing. It was because I don't know if it was Mushu or Sarah. They were like, why don't we go do re mi fa? And I went like serving Kant. You know what I mean? It was like such a collective thing. The energy in the room was flying.
I was gonna say, it sounds like there was some magic happening in that room.
Yes.
So what happens then? You've come up with this, the Serving Kant. You know that it's going to be controversial. You know that it's going to upset some people. You know that it's going to be very, very landmarky and really go out there and do a whole bunch of incredible attention-grabbing media. But
to be honest, again, I was so skeptical because, again, I was in a room full of singers and musicians. I was like, what's going to happen if I decide to apply? Because this wasn't a definite, yes, I'm going to apply. No. At the time, I went in the car. I showed it to my ex, and she's like, This is garbage. Yes, she's
Who won
like,
that one?
she did.
Yeah, you know it. Yeah, you know it, girlfriend.
You know what I mean? She's like, you have to, if you're going to compete in Eurovision, your voice is dedicated like for a ballad. You have a big voice. Don't go in Eurovision with this shit. You know what I mean? And then I was showing it to my other friends, my choreographer, Chloe, and they're like, this song is banger. You know what I mean? And I was like, you know what? My gut is telling me to do it. And I applied. So I just like applied. In the meantime, I broke up with my ex. Thank God. And I was on my single journey, and I went to live with my grandma when this period was about. And I started going out again. I started loving myself again. I got a hold of a condition I suffer with, which is PCOS, and I started taking the adequate medication for it, and I started losing weight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I started feeling myself. Oh my God. I was like living life. I was so happy on my own, which is so powerful to me
100%.
because I hated being on my own. It was like the roof was going to fall on my fucking head if I stay at home alone. But I just enjoyed it. I just finally started enjoying my own company. And I started going out. I realized I'm not fully gay as I thought I was. I discovered I'm pansexual. So to me, I fall in love with a character rather than a woman, man. And I remember being in the living room with my grandma, and they were gonna say who made it through. And I was scared. I was so scared because I was like, is it gonna pass? Is it not gonna pass? And I've never submitted to Eurovision and not made it to the final. Never. So I was like, oh my God. And as soon as I heard the first note, Serving Kant, my grandma and I shouted so much. And she's like, yes. Yes, it was so beautiful.
Can I ask you, what did your family think? Did they have anything to say about the song?
My grandma's the youngest person you can meet in your life. She gets it, you know what? And not because I'm her granddaughter, she gets it. She gets the artistry, which is crazy because she's 70, you know what I mean? And my mom just loved her ass off. My dad didn't fully get it. You know, but my family was quite supportive of it, even though they knew it was gonna cause controversy. And then I was with the team I usually used to work with, but we were going nowhere because the song is so big that we didn't know what to fucking do. You know, it was so weird because we're like Serving Kant. It was going to these cliche ideas where like, you know, dancers dressed as waiters and they're like serving. And then my songwriter Mushu, he's like, you have to put in Steven for this one. Steven Leva, you have to, Mir, you have to. And I had ghosted him like the year before because I was like, nope, I'm not gonna afford to work with Steven. And nope, I ghosted him. And I'm like, Mush, I ghosted him last year. He's like, it's okay, explain to him why and he will get it. So my courage was like, yes, independent woman, text the man. I'm like, hello, Steven. I know I ghosted you, but I really want to meet you to speak to you about something.
Yeah.
And he heard the song. Obviously, the song was already out. And he's like, okay, let's meet in this cafeteria. I went and I'm like, listen, please note, I was just laid off of work like the same month. And I had zero money. So I had like maybe 50 euros in my bank account. So I went up to Steve and I'm like, listen, I don't have money to give you. I will get it. I know I'll get it, but I don't have money to give you right now. But I have a fuck-ass song, which is amazing.
And he said?
And he said, nah, I'll think about it. 2-3 days, and he came back to me. He's like, let's do this. And we still created a budget. I am very disorganized because of my ADHD. So I didn't have a laptop at the time. I had nothing, zero. My choreographer gave me her old laptop and I was just like messaging sponsors. Hi, would you like to sponsor me for Eurovision? Monetary sponsors, obviously.
yeah.
And I did get the money.
Amazing.
I managed to get the money. I'm like, yes, independent woman, get it.
Amazing.
Yes, and all the stars were aligning. So all signs were pointing to, yes, we're gonna make this happen. And I remember we used to meet at this cafeteria in the airport. And you can see like where the people go up. And I used to tell them, my team, that's gonna be us. When we go to Switzerland, to Basel, and they used to be like, Mir, shut up. Shut up, Mir, tipo. And they're like, that's gonna be us. And they used to call me delusional. But I love that people call me delusional because my delusions actually got me somewhere.
That self-belief
Yes.
is really important. And I really wholeheartedly believe that you also fake it
Yes.
if you don't believe it until you believe it, because you need everybody else to be
Yes.
in on your plan, on your vision, on your dream. And the only way to do that is to say, we're going to do it. It's going to be a reality. Come on board and we're going to make it happen.
And that's what my mom taught me. So when like there were days where they were super broke, like don't have to go buy groceries, broke, she used to tell me I'm the richest woman in the world. My bank account is flowing with money. She used to believe in all, and I used to be like, Ma, what are you saying? And she used to tell me, if you speak enough, loud enough about this, it's going to happen.
100%.
And now I get her.
She's a
Now
wise
I
woman.
get her.
Before we go on to, I want to come back to something you said before, because something you said resonated and I love it. You talked about the fact that you came out of a relationship and you fell in love with being on your own. Now, I wholeheartedly believe that we have a great time in relationships. We have love and we have friendship. If you have a good relationship, damaging relationships can obviously be very harmful. However, I also believe that the most growth for us as human beings happens when we're on our own. And that is a powerful, powerful, powerful time. And I think a lot of women and men shy away from that. And I just want to come back to that for a second, because it was obviously meant to be. And I'm going to put a hypothetical question to you. Do you think that you could have had the success if you had been in a relationship, or did you need to have in that relationship?
None of it would have happened.
There you go.
None of it would have happened. No way. It wasn't possible. I was alone, so I had no one to tell me, no, don't wear that. No, don't say that. No, don't do that. I just did it. You know what I mean? And I was in a same room with very, very good-minded creatives, which were like, let's do this, let's do that, let's wear this, let's pose this. And I used to get excited of the idea. And that's the only thing I was feeding off of. So I enjoyed going home then, skincare my face and watching Netflix after a very productive day. Trying to put together what we're going to do about this Kant thing. And the idea didn't come instantly, because on stage then we did the do re mi, with the ugly dresses of the Sound of Music, that
ugly dresses. This is the sound. Please tell me you have watched The Sound of Music.
Of course.
Okay, fair enough. Ugly dresses.
Of course. In the sense, they weren't the most beautiful dresses, yes, let's say.
True.
And mine wasn't, for sure. And Stephen just got this idea and he's like, Sound of Music. I remember my stylist is the biggest diva I know. He just went out. He's like, I need a minute. I need a minute.
Well, you say that, I'm like, yes.
And he came up to
that.
me, Jandor, he's like, I think he's trying to set you up so you don't win.
Wow.
Because when you think about it, like when you hear the song Serving Kant, you wouldn't imagine like the Sound of Music
Sound of Music, no.
outfits. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. Yes, yes.
But that's why it worked, because the contrast,
Yeah.
you know, from the ugly dress being ripped apart to me being in leopard to the bouncy balls, it all made sense. Even the bouncy balls, the idea came because we went to one of my dancers that performed in Malta to her gymnastic studio because she had a space where we could rehearse. And my stylist was like dangling to the ropes. And then he found this gym ball and he's like, Serving Kant. And Steven went, this could really work. He made me go buy 6 bouncing balls for me and the dancers. And he's like, I want to see it all together.
And there you go, bingo. And there it happens. And then you go onto the stage at Eurovision here in Malta and
Boom.
boom. And did you, I mean, it's that self-belief. Did you know going into Eurovision here in Malta that you were going to win?
No. I always said I'm going to come second or third. There were such
Why?
great...
Why? Because you know that song's such a big song.
But not... It wasn't for the Maltese crowd at all. And you need the Maltese crowd to vote for you. I knew I wasn't going to get the full points from the jury. In fact, I only got 12 from 2 people, which one of them was foreign. And the other I got from the lead singer of the Travellers. But I got 10s, I didn't get 12s.
Okay.
They gave the 12s to the person who came second, Christy. So I told my dancers, I remember, I'm like, guys, don't get like super hyped or happy. We're going to be second, which is amazing to me. I'm like, the song is viral all over the world. I won already. But then, man, when they were counting the points, I'm very shit at maths. Like, horrible. I told you, I can't read the clock. I don't know the tables. Disaster.
So you had no idea as it was coming in.
No,
that you
no.
were-
And one of my dancers, Zuli, he shook my foot. He's like, you won! We won! And I'm like, if you read my mouth in Maltese, I'm like going, le ma jistax ikun. Le ma jistax ikun. It can't be, it can't be. I did so much like in-person marketing, which is so out of my comfort zone, because people used to come up to me in the street. They're like, it's for you this year, you're gonna win. And I'm like, if you don't vote for me, it won't be. So send me a screenshot when you vote.
Oh, wow. Oh, you really did go for it hard.
I went full campaign, like
Good for you.
literally.
Good for you.
And I know that there's this like whole thing of people buying SIM cards and stuff, but I never had that.
Sorry, what?
No, yes.
So they can vote extra?
Yes, Mela.
I didn't know that.
There are people who can. If you have the money to buy SIM cards, you can. You know what I mean?
Listen, you must know that in the UK, where I grew up, Eurovision has a very, very different appreciation. It's not
Yes.
what it is here in Malta and other parts of Europe. And so every time I hear this about Eurovision, I'm like, what?
Yes.
But of course, it is an incredible international platform. So you hear that you've won. And that moment?
Ma, it's such a blur in my head, but I remember I was just thinking of my family. I couldn't imagine, like, they didn't realize that I won because they were at the very back. And they were asking the people in front of them, who won? Who won? My auntie went on Facebook and they're like, Miriana. Ma. And so I spent all my life longing for this attention, right?
Yeah,
like when someone
right.
wins.
Yeah.
I was on the stage all the time when the other contestants won previous years. And
Yeah.
I'm like, will that be me one day? Will that be me one day? I was like, if it's not this year, it will never be, because this is the biggest song I could possibly ever have. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I remember putting up the trophy. It's insane when I had to sing again, like as the winner song. Wow. I had the time of my life. Then after, like everything that came after it was very shocking and very it was like a culture shock to me.
And this is what I'm coming to, because you mentioned something just a moment ago. You said that even before you sang on the stage at the competition here in Malta, it was already being played around the world. People already knew about this song. And I will come back to the fact that it is a very much a like it or, love it, in fact, or hate it kind of song, because it particularly the first version where you are saying Serving Kant. And I was flabbergasted when I researched that Radio Times. Now, I don't know if do you know the Radio Times wrote an article on you? Radio Times is a magazine. If you don't know what it is, it's in the UK. It is as old as Stonehenge. It's as old as Menandra temples. I'm telling you, it is that old. And I saw that they'd written an article specifically about you, and that Scott Mills even was saying, we can't play this on the BBC because of the lyrics. And I remember thinking to myself, it's going to cause a reaction. It's going to cause a real, I love it, and isn't that great, and what great attitude, and it's a real fuck it kind of thing. Or it's going to create an attitude of, I'm sorry, I can't. And I, as a British and Maltese, actually had both reactions at the same time because of the implications of the word can't. But obviously you win. You know that you're going to represent Malta at Eurovision. It's already gone hugely viral. And reactions must have been both positive and negative.
Yes.
And you've just said you were not prepared for the shock. So what happened? What happened then? Because I can imagine that as much as people were supporting you, you were getting, like in the UK, I mean, the UK saying it's not going to play the song. What was that? How did that sit?
I loved when once someone tagged me in a video. Someone in the UK actually went in front of the BBC with a speaker playing Serving Kant. If you're watching this, I love you. I don't know you, but I love you. So I had a force of people who really loved me, really were understanding like how big of a deal this is, that like Malta's back on the map, basically. Like they're speaking about this girl with this song, and all of a sudden Malta's in everyone's mouths. And I wasn't ready. Like even when the song just came out, I didn't win. I hadn't won. I have a video of me puking. I can show you later. Because views were coming up and up and up and up and up. Everyone texting me, you're gonna win, you're gonna win, you're gonna win. I couldn't stop puking. Like full on puking, like throwing up. I was so overwhelmed. Because I was always a girl that loved attention. And I'm not like shy to admit it or like embarrassed to say it. I was always the type of girl who, even at home, I used to make it a stage. I'm like, Ma, look at me, Da, look at me, ara, ara. I used to create dances and everything. So you spend all your life longing for this so-called attention. But when you finally get it, it's not what you think it is. It's not how you think it is. It's... So let's put it this way. So after I put up the trophy and I sang like the winning song, when I went down, there was this pool of media waiting to speak to me. This trophy was heavy, very heavy. And I just remember wanting to like put down the trophy, but I couldn't because there was this like line of people waiting to speak to me, both international and Maltese. And as soon as I thought I was ready, it was like all the contestants coming to congratulate me. My family trying to call me. I'm trying to pack up everything in the dressing room. And as soon as I went out to the after party, I remember my family was at the back of the room. And they were like, come, so we hug you and we congratulate you.
Yeah.
I couldn't make it to my family. I spent almost an hour. Then I told someone from PBS to get them next to me. Because I was like, I'm not gonna reach you there. I'm trying, but I can't. Everyone was like, taking photos with me. And then when my family left, I gave my phone to Steven. I'm like, give me a second. I went to the bathroom and I cried my eyes out. I was so overwhelmed. So overwhelmed. Like the only moment I was left alone. Now, I don't want this to be like a sob story because I was so happy, but so overwhelmed. You know what
of
I mean?
course.
The only time I was left alone is when they played Kant. Because obviously I was like in the middle of this big circle bouncing on the ball. That was the only time.
But I don't think anyone would think that it's a sob story, but it is very real. It's very real that for so many, particularly I think younger generations with social media and so on, crave the attention, and then when they get the attention, it's not what they expected. Now you've had this emotional, I'm going to keep going with this forward because you've had this emotional moment, you've won, all of the implications. You can't see your family. Of course, your family are your rock. You go into the toilet, you release the emotion, both negative and positive, and then you've got to start thinking about the next phase, which is, but in the meantime, this song is still going crazy all over the world. Coming back to the BBC are not going to play it. There's obviously positive reactions and there's negative reactions. And there's a couple of things that you said. You said before that media isn't what you expect it, that the attention isn't what you expect. And also you mentioned the fact that the music industry, it can be very, very dark.
Yes.
And I think these are so many things that we don't think about, that we don't take into account. So talk to me a little bit about, you've come out before and you've said that you were addicted to the hate comments. And I don't want to dwell on the hate, but I want to be very realistic about this, because as much as there was so many people cheering you on, loving your attitude, loving this confidence, there must have been people attacking you.
Of course there was. What hurt the most is that I got most hated from in my own country. That was the most hurtful thing ever, because
Malta had voted for you.
I think the gays had voted for me, not gonna lie. The gays do love me. But there was this sense of, in Maltese we say ħdura. It's like this hate, like they used to call me every name under the sun. Paragraphs, tamma. Paragraphs of like words like fat, pig, how do you feel comfortable wearing this on stage? Disgusting, disgrace that you're representing my country. Attention seeking, lesbian. I'm telling you, how does her family show their faces in the streets? All of these comments. It was, and I couldn't go to sleep at night without reading them. Every single one.
Why?
And the funniest thing was, let me tell you why. I always like to, I've always enjoyed psychology and how the human brain works. And I used to open Facebook and like go through these comments and go on their profiles, like, because they show their face. Most of them show their face. There were fake profiles who went overboard and I always expect to see like a J-Lo or a Leonardo DiCaprio, but they're nothing of the sort. And they're in their fucking 50s and 60s and 70s. And they have the time of day in their life to stay writing a paragraph about me.
Mm.
They used to be like, why? What do I trigger in them which makes them hate on me so much?
And what did you decide?
I decided that half of them were like, no hate, always. But I believe that they were these very religious, stay-at-home people, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Who have nothing better to do.
Periods are part of the game, but they don't have to throw you off your game. Try new Always Platinum for up to 100% leak protection, faster absorption, dry feel, and it's more cushiony, so you can focus on your game. It's a new period, always.
I think for so many of us, we wonder why people take the time to go and spew out hate on somebody else. And I know so often it is people who are confident, who are vivacious, who are theatrical, who look like they are resilient. I want to ask you, first of all, what was the worst thing that was said to you? It doesn't have to necessarily be the most vile, but the thing that really hurt the most. Was it about your family? Was it about your figure? Was it about what were the things that really hurt?
At that time, I think nothing really hurt. I'm being very honest. Like I can't be any more honest than I am right now. It's like from when I was very young, it's either because my dad was obviously mentally unstable and he always took medication, and I always had to put this like facade of I'm not scared of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And growing up as well, like I wasn't always accepted in groups, like socially, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't the thinnest, I wasn't the famous one. And in like the teenage years, that's your social status basically. Like if you don't have this many likes, this boy is not gonna kiss you. If you're not this skinny, this boy is not gonna whatever. You know what I mean? And I just internalized that, you know what I mean? Eventually, I'm like, fuck it, fine. I'm not like your picture perfect skinny Barbie. It's okay, it's fine. And that really helped in this industry because the first time I took part in the Malta Eurovision, I remember my mom crying. There was this Facebook group, Eurobitchin,
Oh,
a
yeah.
Maltese group.
Yes.
They used to just write, for example, Miriana Conte, Kant. And you could see the comments, boom, 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 boom. And at the time, my mom didn't have money to pay a designer for me. So we went to a seamstress. I chose what I wanted for my outfit. And I was quite slim at the time. I mean, I wasn't like huge. And I had this like sheer part of my tummy showing, but it was a black sheer. But little did I know that the lights obviously make it look different because I was still very new to the scene. And they're like, you look, in Maltese we say isek torta, you look like a pie. How did your mom let you go up on stage like that? And I remember always being like very mature in the way I think. I am very childish in some things as well, but in these rational things, I'm like, am I gonna hide under like a rock and not come back to Eurovision because a lot of people called me fat? Or no, I went back the year after and I participated again. And I hired a designer. You know what I mean? So I always had this like fight in me of like, if you tell me something, I'm gonna do it worse or better. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
but this is gold.
Yes.
That determination, that resilience is absolute gold. It's what everybody wants because we all get attacked. We all get a comment.
100%. You could be the most beautiful woman on the planet. To me, Lady Gaga, she is
stunning, huh?
Wow. The things she does with her music, with her mind, with
Absolutely.
her creativity. You know how much hate she got. because she decided to wear a meat dress, because she decided to be sexual in a video. It's artistry, man. These people don't go in the street and, you know what I mean?
I don't know if you saw recently, Madonna turned up at Coachella
Yes, with Sabrina.
with Sabrina. And she surprised everybody, and she came out wearing the same outfit she'd worn 20 years previously. I mean, who gets to do that? She's 62. Who gets to do that? To wear an outfit that but she got so much hate for it. It's Madonna, for goodness sake. She is the female music icon of all time, as far as I'm
Yes.
concerned. And yet she still gets hate because she chose to wear an outfit. And granted, she wasn't maybe moving around the stage as she might have done 30, 40 years previously, but damn it, she was doing a good job. And it does feel like damned if you do and damned if you don't.
I'd like to see someone at 62 moving like her or looking like her.
Yeah.
And that's what I used to say to myself as well. I'd like to see these people who are commenting being spoken about around the world at 25.
Yeah.
And I used to read these comments because they used to give me such a big boost. I read them like semi-final to final. So after the semi-final, it was horrendous, the comments. They're like, what the fuck is she wearing? What the fuck is she doing? Madonna, this is crazy. We're giving Malta a bad name. All of this, insomma. And I was reading these comments. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to show them exactly what they're commenting badly about. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go out even worse than I was, like, but in a good way. I'm going to go out even more ferocious than I was. So
is that what has fired your image? Because if you look at Miriana going out for the very first time on stage with Serving Kant, and then you look at what the final version of that is, and every version after that, it has just grown. Your persona, your attitude, your theatre, your drama has just grown. And your sexual presence as well has just grown and grown and grown. Is that what fueled this? Because you were criticized? Where does that come from? How did you decide to just keep going and push this even further?
I think I finally was surrounded with the right people throughout such a oomph time in my life. So, for example, Jandor, my stylist, I could never like stop praising him for this particular thing, apart from the creative looks he creates for me and being a friend after all. But we've been friends since we were like 13. And then, you know, like you drift apart. But then I remembered that when we were young, he used to come at me to like shop for clothes for Pacheville. And he used to pick out the weirdest things. And he's like, you have to wear this. You're going to be the only one looking like this. Please wear this. 13 years old. I used to be like, okay, I trust you. He's like, if you don't buy it, I'm not going to come with you shopping anymore.
And you just said it right there. You were surrounded by people you trusted. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And that gave you the confidence to push even further.
Yes. And then when I created the song, I was like, who else than Jandor? Because then he started to style full time in Malta. And I was like, who else? And I hit him up. I'm like, hey, John, tipo, let's meet and I want to show you something. He's like, yes, I want to do this. Who else? And I remember like feeling so uncomfortable. I'm like, Isma, I don't want to show my legs. I don't want to do this. I want to do that. He's like, listen, your body is tea. Your body is tea. Let's show them your body. And I remember he started like going on these websites, buying clothes for him. And I'm like, no, that's not going to fit. He's like, shut up, it will fit. I was losing weight at the time. I didn't even realize I have big body dysmorphia. Had it ever since I was 14. And I always said like, no, that's not going to fit. No, that's not going to look nice on my body. He's like, shut up and let me cook.
So again, you've mentioned body dysmorphia. So many of us go through that and have experienced that. How then did you find that courage? Is it because the people that you trust around you gave you the confidence?
Yes.
See that? That's really
Yes,
huge, isn't it?
the people around you play such a big role and impact in whatever you do. I always worked with very nice people, but the thing is, they always had such a Maltese mentality. So because I was always a bit curvy, even if I was on the thinner side, I was always a bit curvy. It's the way my body is shaped. Still, they would like to dress me up in black or cover the parts of my body which are not in people's eyes so pleasing. But Jandor did completely the opposite of that. He's like, why not?
And it's really interesting that you say that those parts of the body are not so pleasing, because who says they're not? Who says they're not? Some of the most successful women that I know are larger sizes. Who says that? Look, the beauty industry and the dieting industry is worth billions of dollars. They are selling the narrative that we should be a particular size.
Exactly.
And we don't all want to be the same, for goodness sake. How boring would the world be if we were?
And the thing is, as long as you're healthy, if you do your blood tests and everything is okay, if you're eating healthy, if you're training in your own way, you don't have to go to gym to be healthy. You can go for a run, for a walk, or do home workouts, whatever. Do whatever you want. But if you're healthy, who's going to tell you that you're not? Just because you don't look like muscle men or like whatever, or like Jennifer Lopez.
Yep.
Everyone is shaped differently for a reason. I know I have love handles which will never go away unless I remove them surgically, for example. You know what I mean? I was once, because this is very important for me to mention, I was always very, like, the biggest kid in class. Yes, I was born in a Italian family. My grandma used to cook a lot, and yes, I used to eat a lot of food. Big whoop. You know what I mean? I enjoyed my childhood a lot. And apart from that, when I was 14, I did a very horrible diet for my age because my hormones were still like, I don't know, getting into
Settling.
place.
Yep, they're finding their way.
Yes, and I noticed because I was getting like hair on my face, black hair on my arms, very long thick hair under my belly button. My eyebrows used to grow very rapidly. And I lost a lot of weight. I lost my tits. I lost my thighs. I was very thin. Size 8 on the verge of size 6. If I show you, you wouldn't imagine. I looked like I had a big head. I lost so much weight that my head looked like bigger than my body. I looked like a bubble head. Because I'm so tiny, you know what I mean? And I feel like I'm very proportionate now. But I didn't feel beautiful, or I didn't feel like I felt like the fattest person in the world. And then I suffered from bulimia.
Well, can we talk about this for a second? Because,
Yes.
again, eating disorders isn't a new phenomenon. I myself had eating disorders when I was in my teens. And I think, again, a lot of people don't realize it's not just about wanting to be thin. It's about everything that goes with it.
Yes.
Bulimia is a crippling condition. I myself swung from one to the other to one to the other. And part of it is that I think a lot of people, if you have an experience, you don't realize how much space in your head that takes, because pretty much that's all you're thinking about.
Yes.
You're thinking about what you're going to eat, how you're going to purge what you're going to eat, how you're going to control what you're going to eat, and how that's going to make you feel and how it's going to make you look. And it becomes completely encompassing. And I think most people don't get that.
The thing is, extremes are never good with anything. They're never good.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was 14, I was on this diet. Basically, this diet was not eating protein with carbs, so chicken with veg, rice with veg. Certain veg I couldn't eat, certain fruits I couldn't eat. I stopped eating bread, stopped drinking milk, dairy at 14, which is such a crucial part, like for your hormones to settle and everything.
Absolutely.
And I remember being so obsessed. So, like, for 3 years straight, I didn't touch a piece of bread, didn't drink a glass of milk, and I didn't even eat a salad from like restaurants, because I don't know what they're doing in the kitchen. I don't know if they put too much oil in my food. I don't know if they put too much salt in my food. I used to just trust my mom with food, because I know she knows how much oil to put and how much seasoning to put, or I have to make it. So that was a crazy time. That was a very crazy time, because I didn't realize how self-destructive I was being. But I was seeing like the scales going down, and I remember thinking, oh, it's happening. Oh my God, it's happening. But I wasn't happy.
And again, I think that's something that people don't understand, is that if you are experiencing an eating disorder, which is so sadly on the increase, it is the most crippling and most most prevalent mental illness amongst young women.
Yes.
And it's incredibly sad, because it's not just about the dieting, it's not just about the body, but it's also about the being so unhappy, so unhappy with what's going on with you, whether it be your hormones are affected, your diet is being affected. And you even mentioned PCOS earlier on. PCOS in Mediterranean women is so common
And not
not
spoken
diagnosed.
about
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah. We had Chiara Frenda Balzan sitting here on one of the shows talking about the fact that most women in Malta who have PCOS have no idea that they have it. It's a hugely high percentage.
Yes. And it doesn't show up the same in everyone. Like,
No.
for example, my girlfriend has PCOS. I have it. Mine is much more severe than hers is. Hers impacts her with period pain.
Yeah.
For me, it impacted me with insulin resistance, weight gain,
Right.
acne, body hair, unwanted body hair, periods not coming like after 6 months. So in every way, shape or form, PCOS hit me very bad. And I believe it was triggered from this time when then I didn't know bulimia was a thing. I just knew that when I ate, I wanted to throw it up. Then later on in my life, I was like, oh, I used to do that. There's a name for it now.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what I was doing.
Can I ask you, because I think for any young woman who's listening, and as I said before, eating disorders, whether it be bulimia, whether it be body dysmorphia, whether it be anorexia, is on an incredible increase, and partly due to social media, partly due to the pressures that we're putting onto young people and that young people are experiencing between their peers. How did you get your way out of that?
So I think that happened very gradually.
Yeah.
It was a very blinding time for me, let's say, because when I look at myself now, I'm like, wow, did I have a body? I still kept the jeans in my wardrobe at my mom's house. I'm like, I'm gonna fit in them. One day I'm gonna fit in them. But I used to fit in them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I realized I was with the acid when I was throwing up, it was affecting my voice.
Yeah.
It was affecting my voice. And I was like, this must be from me throwing up.
Yeah.
And I remember gradually like starting to include things in my diet which I hate and to not allow myself to eat. Very gradually. It took another like 2-3 years of my life to fully indulge in a pizza, for example. Like my cheat meal was Turkish back at the time. Chicken breast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So then I had to unlearn what I know and relearn balance, which was...
But the secret that you just mentioned there, the key was the voice,
Yes.
was the music.
Mhm.
So even back then, the music was what essentially saved you and helped you motivate your journey out of where you found yourself. I have to talk about this because you spoke out about this publicly on a reel that just blew my mind when you turned round and you said, keep my name out of your mouth because you don't know what my story is. Because you were, in February this year, you were body shamed by a very prominent young man in this country. Adam at Bulletproof turned around and he turned to a young lady and said, this is what Miriana Conte could look like if she went to the gym. And when I saw that, I was so angry because we don't know what someone's journey is. And you've just mentioned this journey. You've just talked about this journey. You've just shared this journey. And I know that any woman who is dealing with, as I said it before, body dysmorphia, whether it's confidence, whether it's feeling imposter syndrome, because we have so much pressure on us right now to be more than we are, or whether it be an eating disorder, which is so prevalent and on the increase, that a comment like that is, and I don't swear often, just fucking awful. And it's just irresponsible.
Yes, it was very irresponsible. Now, I was a fan of Adam's. I didn't follow his social media, but when I saw what he did for the young generation, like bringing gyms in and stuff, I was like,
absolutely,
that's so good.
Brilliant.
My sister is young, so I love that she benefited from this.
Yeah.
I'm all for people who live a healthy lifestyle and go to the gym and do whatever they want to do. It does not mean that if you are a bit bigger in size or if you're not like the standard shape or whatever, that you're not healthy or that you don't train. It does not mean that at all. And I am the perfect example for that. No, I don't go to the gym just because I know there's people like him in the gym.
And you have just exactly hit the nail on the head, because that is so many women's experience. I speak to women who don't go to the gym because and myself, I am reluctant. I train, I run, and I take part in competitions, but I'm extremely reluctant to go to the gym because I don't want to be judged. I don't want to face that. And if it's me, if it's you, there's got to be tens of thousands of other women.
Exactly. And the thing is that people tell you who are used to going to the gym, they'll tell you no one gives a shit what you look like or what you're doing. But it's not true. You know what I mean? Then how come someone would make a comment like that? And you know what the saddest thing is about, now I do not want to give him any more importance because he made like 700 videos out of that one clip I made. But anyways, the saddest thing is that he thought I did it for content. He thought I said something to him on social media so that I can get, I don't know, views or hype. The views and hype I get is out of my music. I do not have to get it out of someone. You know what I mean? And what he doesn't know as well is that he triggered so many things, which I've spoken about with you for the past hours, that I had to go back on medication. That's what one very small comment can do to you.
Yeah, not so small. Not so small. I'm so thrilled that you did speak out, because I think you spoke for so many women.
100%. And I will continue to do so because I am not afraid of someone who will most probably cut these clips and do another 700 videos, which he can do. I don't hate him. I actually loved what he did for, again, the young generation. And because I know that the intention is not bad. But you can't go around making comments like these just because you feel like.
I think it's one of the things that really worries me at the moment is that if you have a platform, you have a voice, and you have younger people who are influenced by you and what you do and influenced by what you say and probably don't have the discernment. I mean, for instance, if it's young men, young teenagers, they don't yet have, and it's not their fault, but the young teenage boys do not have the prefrontal cortex, so they don't have the ability to discern between what is right and what is
Literally.
not healthy. And that, unfortunately, it means that young men are very impressionable. I want to come to you. I want to ask you, you in turn have this massive platform, a huge following, and you've had this incredible success all over the world. What is it that you, Miriana Conte, want to leave as a legacy for young women? What do you want women to take from your experience?
To be honest, this past year has been so magical when like teenagers text me, or these young girls and young boys even, their parents come up to me and they're like, they love you, she loves you, she hears you all the time. But the most powerful thing of all was when I received messages saying, thank you because my daughter went to swim for the first time because of you. Thank you because my son stood up to his bully. Thank you because my daughter came out to me. I got all these messages throughout this year. And that's why I keep doing what I do. And that's why I continue speaking out loud. Even if the whole world tells me I'm wrong, I'm going to do it and I'm going to say it. Because I've helped so many people. The people who call me Hamalla, or she doesn't know what she's wearing or what she's doing, or she's doing it for attention, this is why I'm doing it, not for the wrong reasons like everyone thinks I do it. And that's why I say, if you have nothing nice to say, just don't say anything at all, because everyone has a story and everyone has their own personal struggles. And I think it's so important that we speak like out and proud about them.
I'm really blown away by that. I'm really glad that you said that, and that you do empower young people and these girls and women and men to be who they are. Because I think that's also something in today's world that we struggle with. We struggle with being who we are and who we want to be comfortable to be. I'm going to ask you, if you had one word of wisdom for young girls, women who follow you, that you've learned over this journey, over the past year. I can't believe it's just been a year. That is incredible. We haven't even dived into all of the experiences that you had at Eurovision, but I don't think we need to touch on that, because I really want to just really take out from you, from Miriana Conte, what you have learned over the last year. What would it be?
I think it's to always keep going, regardless of your status, of your financial situation, and of what anyone tells you. Because if you believe, everyone around you believes. And if you believe that one day you will get your flowers, you will get them.
And you proved it. You've been called back to Eurovision to perform at the finals again in 2026. What's next for you?
Much more music and hopefully bigger things. I'm always like aiming for anything that's bigger. I take a lot of pride and pleasure in what I do. In every song, there's a part of me, my story, and I just want to continue doing that, basically. And
Please do.
wherever it takes me, I'm in for it. Anything.
I love that. Please do. Please keep doing it, and please keep being the absolute inspiration that you are.
I will. Trust me. When I share moments like these with inspirational people like yourself, I go to bed at night saying, you are doing the right thing, because people like Trudy care want to invite you over to speak to you. Yeah.
Cheers to that, girlfriend.
Cheers to that, girlfriend. Yes.